Hello, my name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. We are just one episode away from starting season 2. Woo-hoo! And I am stoked. Now, for this episode, we're doing something a little bit different. We have both had a chance to do our final proof. We are literally just waiting on the last 2 bits of art before we send out the final ebook. But we are definitely willing to wait because our artist is doing an incredible job, and the end product's going to be amazing. These are just a little bit more involved.
Yeah, and I'm neurotic, and I don't necessarily. Here's the thing. My sister is this brilliant visual artist, and I'm like, I make go down like big ravine, which isn't really helpful when communicating with an artist. So it takes more time to work with me than probably most artists would like. But our artist is...
ask your narrator.
Yeah. Our artist is very, very patient and doing an amazing job. So we are being patient in turn.
Yes.
And it's going to be great. We're just, giving the artist time to work.
It is going to be great. So I wanted to start this episode by talking about some of the points in my read that I found to either stand out or that I thought were really, really cool bits of foreshadowing.
We have Marguerite.
I'm so sorry. You're right. And, not that you've been holding off on having any of yours. But yes, we are having, last week we did have strawberry margaritas, so I just so happen to have the fixings to make a golden margarita or a Cadillac. So this is just a regular margarita. It's Cointreau and tequila and lime juice, and then there is a floater of Grand Marnier on top.
So it's golden.
Look at me.
It's golden like how golden with joy we are to reach the next season.
Stop stretching.
Okay, funny story. So last weekend we were at Space Coast Book Lovers. And I was on a panel that was all about second chance romance and what were the
fish out of water,
and a couple other little book tropes. And one of the questions to the panel was, how did that relate to our sort of house grouping we had been given for the weekend?
And remind us what you were.
I was lexicon, so I was in like the scholarly, academic, discovery based house.
That feels right. Yeah,
it does feel right.
And I was in
me.
House Fable, and I was like, I do live my life as a work of fiction. So yeah,
it fits. But the question was, how did the books that I had brought for the panel, that was the second chance romances and fish out of water panel, relate to House Lexicon? And I straight up started my answer with, well, I'm going to make some shit up. And you know what? I made some really brilliant shit up, and I am proud of myself.
And then somebody went, well, who wants to follow that? And my favorite thing is at one point, people were like watching you speak, and you were going pretty fast, and you went, sorry, I had a 5-hour energy today, and everyone in the room went, oh. But then Megan's like, no, but this is just generally how I am. And one of our podcast listeners there, Mistipal, said, no, literally she is. So it was very fun.
I was like, well, here's the thing. Like, yes, the 5-hour energy picks up my speed a little bit, but it's like listening to an audiobook from like 1 to 1.1. So, like, yes, there is an increase in speed, but it is not what they are thinking.
I'd say it's probably like 1.2.
But it was an amazing weekend at Space Coast Book Lovers. We got to catch up with some old friends and get to know some friends better and make some new friends and readers. And yeah, it was a great time.
So for my notes in the book, I actually didn't start taking anything down until about chapter 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so I skipped ahead a little bit. And the first thing that I marked, and this was
can you explain what the notes are?
Yeah, well, I did kind of, but I'll go back. I'll clarify. So I was taking notes on moments that stood out to me in particular. Megan and I had discussed like, hey, we should go through, find some cool moments where you were doing some foreshadowing for this particular novel. I decided to pick up on some foreshadowing for potentially future novels. We'll see. I'm going to ask her questions about that. She might say, I'm not talking about that, and that's fine. You are welcome to do that. What?
Okay, it's okay though. I'm gonna call myself out on this one.
Okay, go ahead.
So the reason that we decided to do this, and keep in mind, generally, like any kind of praise, I want to hide. I turn into a little turtle and I hurt my neck, pulling my shoulders up to my ears.
Yeah.
And I want to run away and cry.
Uh-huh.
But there are some moments in this book that I'm really proud of where I managed to plant Easter eggs or put in some foreshadowing really early in the book for later in the book for even later books in the series.
Yeah.
And I was real time writing it, so there was no going back to plant those things later on, which is how it's usually done.
Right.
And I'm really proud of it, and I just want people to see what a good job I did, which feels really horrific to say, but there are just some things where I'm like, well, look at me, fuckers, I did a great damn job.
Yes, you did.
And it feels very uncomfortable to me to do that, say that, I guess basically acknowledge it, but I'm pretty fucking proud of some of this shit.
I'm very proud of you for,
I have
for
a
saying
rash
that.
now.
Yeah, I can see it, actually. I can literally see it. Okay. So my first thing that I wrote down, and this just cracked me up that this was the first thing I came across, was in chapter 8, we see Ella's first, well, shit. And I went, aw, now knowing what I know, aw, that's a momism. That's so cute. I was like, that Lori speak is dropped early, chapter 8.
Oh, wait. We didn't put it in the disclaimer.
Yeah, sure.
Disclaimer. This episode is filled with spoilers for book 1.
Yes.
We are going to be talking about things that lead all the way up to the end of that book. So if you are just now joining us for the podcast, for instance, some of my new Space Coast book lover friends, this is not the episode you want to start at.
No, it is not.
You want to go back to the episode that has chapter 1 of Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
I think it's chapter 1, Welcome to Laureldale.
Or you want to go to our last wrap-up episode. We will link both of those in the podcast notes. But this is going to be filled with spoilers that might not necessarily make sense to you. So while we are always happy to have you listen to any episode, if you are worried about spoilers, this is not the place to start.
Agreed. Okay. Thank you for doing that. Okay,
Continuing
so that,
on.
Well, shit. Okay. So I just put in Lori speak dropped early. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fun. So did you know even at that point that was a momism for her?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much I wanted to start using it, how soon.
Yeah.
But yes, because I was thinking about the difference between Lori's voice and Ella's voice, because they do have that very similar thought pattern.
Yeah.
But where do they differ?
Right.
Where do they differ?
Yeah. I follow you. The next thing I have in chapter 8 is Violet says, it wouldn't be fair to ask Archer to drive her across Willow Creek. And I went, wait a minute. Is this, well, I literally wrote, whoa, reference to Clara? Or this, like, to his slashing? Like, what exactly is she calling out here?
She's calling out the fact that his dad chickened the fuck out and gave up on a search.
Right. Okay. And so it is a reference to Clara.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right. That was my initial thought pattern. I'm reading these for the first time since I wrote them down. So chapter 9, Violet slams her hands onto an already dented steering wheel. And I was like, oh my God, it's like Ella's grandma. So this is just a perpetual problem with werewolves, I take it.
Well, because steering wheels aren't meant to put up with that kind of abuse that consistently. Like, werewolves are gonna have some road rage. Like, we're talking about some temperamental people who want speed naturally.
Yeah.
Getting stuck in traffic. Like, it's not meant to put up with it. It's not gonna happen.
No, I get you. Well, even our lizard brains aren't meant to be out there in traffic all the time, and we deal with it. So adding a huge temper to that, that's gonna cause problems. That's where road rage happens. So chapter 9, also I have the worried. Oh, so Ella talks about, is she like being worried, oscillating between being worried about Violet or Sybil shit. And it's interesting. In that moment, she chooses to focus on the dead girl in her vision from the fire after the school. Do you remember this? This is also when she, I believe, has the first vision of Noah happens around that time with the hammer and the knife. It's where she sees Jason running through the Argo, through winged back chairs, but not realizing what it is. And she doesn't recognize that he's in the exact same clothes that he's wearing in the present. And where, is that the same one where she sees Paige?
With the wall of pictures?
Yeah, I think so. I think that happens this early too.
I think that's correct.
But the one that she latches onto is the one with the dead girl that she can only see from the back lying down on the concrete. Now we know, again, spoilers, so get the hell out of here. We're serious. If you don't know the book yet, if you don't want things spoiled for you, but we know that that's her. That is a potential future for her, right?
Yes.
So she very well could have died in that event.
Yes.
That was one of the potential futures. So what I think is interesting about it is she says the corpse held more appeal. That's her in the shack. But then Clara shit starts happening and it pushes that girl out of her mind. It's just so interesting. So it's like, ooh, look at this thing. It's kind of like, forgive me, but do you guys remember when murder hornets were going to be the big thing in 2020? Or how about the Australian bushfires? Remember those? No, you don't, because COVID took over. So it's like, it's just interesting, you know?
Well, she did. The thing is, she didn't push the girl aside right away. She
No.
didn't have any information about that other girl. So
Right.
she checked missing persons files. Mm-hmm. She did her due diligence. She did poking around. There was nothing she could go off of until someone went missing.
Yeah, that's fair.
So she did what she could, and then she moved on to the task where she had a name and a face.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, should she have stayed more on top of the other girl too? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that would have been a good idea. Quite smart, really. But she didn't just like go, oh, well, never mind. We're focusing on the werewolf. It was, there's shit I can do here. I'm going to go over here. And she just forgot to meander back.
Right. Okay, the next thing that I have is in chapter 10. So Ella says, when explaining why Violet did all of this damage to her, to Kate, when Kate's healing her, she's just a dick, I said, cementing my status as a self-destructive mess by not turning the fucking problem over to the fucking adult now in charge of my fucking life. And I went, I love the explanation of this trope, because this is a trope that is consistent through almost all of YA. You know what I mean?
Where they're like, you could just solve this by telling someone.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that.
But the thing is, telling Kate would have created its own kind of problem. So let's assume that she did tell Kate. Okay, Violet's just going to find another way to come after her about Clara.
Right.
So really not telling Kate isn't what led to anything horrible in the end. Because nothing was gonna stop Violet from getting Ella involved. And once Ella was involved, they were gonna push it through to finding the body.
Right. Chapter 11, this is just a cute thing, just to remind ourselves of, is Paige saying or whispering "told you" at Jason when Ella is laughing about the length of Jason's hoodie. Mm-hmm. You remember that? And for those of you who don't remember, Jason and Paige used to date, and it's very much a reverse on the trope of a girl dating a guy and then he finds out he's gay. In this instance,
Not finds out.
Well, no, I would argue definitely finds out.
Comes to realize?
No, I think that there are people who discover that they're gay. I absolutely.
They get a letter in the mail?
No.
But I think it's a realization, not like something gets mailed to you.
How is that different than finding out?
I don't know. Finding out seems to come from an external source.
That's interesting. Okay,
but maybe that's just like how it is, the colloquialism in my head.
I do see what you mean, and you're probably right, but that's not how I thought of it at all. It's just that you realize, shall we say, that about
that's
yourself.
what I was saying.
Yeah,
like
self-realization. Yeah. But through that realization, you find out, motherfucker. Okay.
Sometimes you fuck around and find out things about yourself.
Yes, you do. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out here because our friend Justin insists he doesn't understand how we can cut stuff. I just went on this really huge side quest about a story from college that we're cutting out. So you're welcome. Okay,
but the story you were telling was even more convoluted than the mattress story.
The mattress story. I don't remember the mattress story.
I'll replace your convoluted with the story with the mattress
go ahead.
story.
I don't remember this.
The boy who lived across the hall from Chris in the freshman dorm.
No.
Got so drunk and horny, he literally decided to try fornicating with the gap between his mattress and box springs and did such damage to himself, they had to call the ambulance.
And now he's a politician. Okay, so going to chapter 12.
And the story Chris was trying to tell was like, it went on a lot more loopy-loops than that.
Did you see what I did there, though? Did you see what I did?
Wait, is he really a politician?
Think about people trying to have sex with furniture.
Oh, now we have to snap.
No,
again.
we don't. All right, here we go. I didn't say anything negative about him or positive. So, chapter 12. Ella remarks about being given a phone. Oh, right. Ella is given a phone and email privileges. Why the hell were they taken away? Do we get to know about that yet?
No.
Damn. All right. See, this is kind of one of those things where I was like, I bet she's going to say no. Okay. And then later in that chapter,
if you looked carefully enough, the information is in this book.
It's got to have something to do with ANTV. All right.
I do not feel the need to lay it out for you yet.
Okay. All right. But you're going to lay it out eventually?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Later on in that chapter, I've actually got a few things in this chapter. The fact that most assholes would have just tried to demand I find them said thing supported that conclusion. This conclusion is that Violet is like telling her, I need to find someone, you're helping me. The reckless determination in her eyes promised she really did mean someone, not something someone has. The fact that most assholes would have just tried to demand I find them said thing supported that conclusion. This right here ties in really neatly with what happens with Austin at the end of the book. And I just thought that was a really interesting piece of lore.
Because it's something that people would try to get Sybils to do.
Right.
Sybils have access to 3 different things. They have the past, the present, and the future. And that, if you can find money out of that.
Wait, whoa. They have things that are presently happening?
They are in the present.
Right. But like, are they able to, let's say, see something that is happening at that moment in time elsewhere through a touch?
No, I don't think that you could go that quickly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Maybe you could get a few minutes.
Few minutes. Okay.
But no, I don't think you could.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sorry, you said past, present, and future, and that's where my brain
No,
went.
they're living in the present, so they have access to the present. This is where they want to be.
Okay.
And they can go on to other paths.
This
is what I meant.
That makes sense.
Okay.
This is neither here nor there. It's not important, but I'm curious. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is when Caleb is outside of Kate's house for the first time.
Yes.
This is not a preordained meeting. But it says, oh, for fuck's sake. I went to the dresser, pulling out the oversized pair of sweatpants I'd stashed in case Operation Never Leave Kate's House Again ever kicked in. Is that saying that she's got an oversized pair of pants in case she fats out of her clothes?
No!
Because I was like, what is she doing? Staying inside and just like eating bonbons and just like, I'm not doing anything. I was like, what the hell is this? Oversized pair of sweatpants. What?
No, you know when you have those sweatpants that are so big that the ankles are practically over your feet and you have to pull that waist drawstring really tight and they're so baggy.
Yes, I have one.
You could basically pull them up over your shoulders and make the sweatpants like your entire being.
You were so weird.
Those sweatpants. Okay. Maybe it's just a me thing, but if you've ever had a pair of sweatpants that's so huge it can basically eat all of you, it's a glorious, glorious thing.
Mm-hmm. It's not your story, Caleb, it's Clara's. This is something that Ella says to Caleb when he's going on about what his part in that night was, the fact that he left, he ran away, and she's trying to get him to tell it. It's not your story, Caleb, it's Clara's. This absolutely mirrors what she says to herself as a seer. And it's interesting. I didn't know if there was like, if that's just something she's so used to, if it's kind of like a therapy thing where she's like, okay, I've done this before in therapy, we're going to talk through it.
No, it's more, it's not that she's like trying to therapeutize him. It's how she has learned to deal. It's how she's learned how to communicate it.
Okay.
So like her parents saying like, once upon a time, can you tell me what you saw the scary monster do? Once upon a time, a big scary monster. Mm-hmm. So this is how she has been taught to handle those moments.
Okay. I was sure Widow Tomic had died and Clara hadn't known not to call the sheriff. This is because this is all taking place on Blackwood land, more or less. Who the fuck called the sheriff? Who called the sheriff? Because they showed up at some point. Mm-hmm. So who the hell called the sheriff? Do we know?
Yes.
Who was it?
Maybe you don't know. I know.
Well, I want to know.
Clara was supposed to go out that night. That's why they knew she was gone so quickly.
Okay.
So someone came to pick Clara up. Clara's gone.
Okay.
So that's why 911 was called instead of anything else, because it was not an Etherean who came to the house.
Wait, what?
One of Clara's friends from school.
Yes.
Was coming to pick Clara up for a night of frivolity.
Non-Etherean.
Non-Etherean.
Oh, I see.
So a non-Etherean comes, finds all this, calls 911. Uh-huh. Gets the humans involved right away. Okay. If any Etherean had found this shit, it would have gone straight to Kate.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Okay, you've given me a lot to think about. I don't want to delve into that though, because I want stuff to stay hidden.
I don't know if you have heard about that as yet.
No, we haven't.
Because we have not gotten into more of Luca's timeline.
No, we haven't heard about that yet.
But yeah, that's how it
At least,
happened.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, y'all. Like, leave comments on the Substack. Okay, sunlight peered through closed shutters, but a real flame lantern burned on the table. Caleb stared into the flame, rage blazing in his eyes, something metal and black, a rod, no, a fire poker in hand. Is that a reference to the golf club that he holds later?
No.
No, so this is a different thing.
Yes.
You gonna tell us anything about it?
In a later book, yes.
You turd. Okay, that's fine.
I am not a turd.
You're a turd. Okay, next thing that I have is Sydney at one point says something about the bridges can be murder over Willow Creek. And I went, is that some kind of weird foreshadowing? The bridges being murder?
I mean, it is everything shadowing.
Okay.
That river has literally killed hundreds of people.
Right. Okay, I'll move on from that. A talon pierced the front of my throat. This is when she's having a vision. Now, is that a metaphoric talon, or does something actually fucking pierce her throat in this vision? Do you need to see it?
There is no vision with a talon piercing her throat, literally.
Okay, so it's like the thorns that are pulling at her. And okay, all right. Let's see what's next. 37 days or 27 days since someone had said it to me. The I love you. Who? Was this an uncle? Was this Auntie V?
No.
Then who the hell is it, Megan Elizabeth?
I'm not telling you.
The stuff with the I'm just moving on. I'm not gonna belabor all this. Okay, next thing I have is chapter 18. This is when Ella is at Paige's house and they're grilling. They have the meat and everything. And this is the whole thing where Ella's like trying to sort of get out of going to the rendezvous, not knowing what the rendezvous is. And at one point she's like, look, if you're not ready for a walk, I can just go. And at some point, like Paige like stands up and everybody's standing up, like Jason. And what I have highlighted here is, but then why the fuck had Paige's mom taken my standing as a cue to shoo Paige's brother and dad back toward the grill? What the fuck is going on in this town? Why is everybody seemingly okay with this teenage debauchery? Is the town under some kind of weird spell? Like, what the fuck is happening?
With kids drinking in the woods?
Yes.
Because the parents don't know about the drinking or the extent of it.
Yes, they fucking do. You said that they had the rendezvous for like...
Yes, but there's always that, oh no, we don't do it like that anymore. I mean, a couple kids drink sometimes, but I never do that.
Wait, hold the fuck on. Are you telling me that these parents believe their children?
I'm telling you
this is a goddamn fairy tale town.
Believe their children enough to go, well, we have a couple smart kids keeping this shit together. It's kind of the small town thing of, this is what they're doing is no worse than what we did and we survived, and fuck, it could be worse.
Okay.
Like, if what they're doing is drinking beer together in the woods with designated drivers. Okay, it could be significantly worse in a small town.
In a small town? Oh, yes.
So that's kind of the thing where they're like, okay, we know Paige.
What did they do in your small town? Didn't they light bridges on fire?
They lit bridges on fire. They grew pot they had a farm field of pot. They did lots of heavy drugs. It was a horrible, horrible thing. So if your kids are having like some low ABV beer with DDs, it's a horrible thing and it's illegal, and underage drinking is not a great idea because brains haven't formed and all those good things. But parents want to believe their kid would never be the one to do it. And the parents who understand are like, it could be so much worse.
By the way, I just want to clarify, and no, I'm not, in saying this, I'm not condoning underage drinking. I am not condoning kids using pot. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that pot is not heavy drugs. I think we can just agree on that right now.
No,
so when you're they were doing heavy drugs, it's like not the same.
No. They were doing I don't think meth was really a thing then. I don't know, but they were doing
actually, I don't know when the inception
they were doing the kind of drugs that Dare said pot led you into.
Dare to keep a kids off drugs. Wait, to keep a kids off drugs? I need more margarita. All right.
The problem was the way they presented the drugs always made them sound so appealing. That's the thing.
So kids, cocaine can give you lots of energy. In fact, they used to put it in Coca-Cola because people thought it was safe. And you're like, oh shit, I want to try that.
No, that's the thing. And they're like, when you have marijuana, you want to eat lots of snacks.
I like snacks.
This is so awful.
They make Pop-Tarts taste incredible.
That's not a bad idea. No, but Dare never did a good job at making drugs sound bad.
We should also clarify, neither Megan nor I, and I'm not just saying this because we're on the podcast, but genuinely have never tried hard drugs, and we never will. That's scary. I don't like it. Okay, so I know that it's don't yuck somebody's yum. That yum I will yuck because that's dangerous shit. Don't do that. Chapter 19. She flicked open a lighter, her face calm, cold, as she touched the flame to the corner of the photo. This is another reference to Paige. Mm-hmm. I am so intrigued by this. I can't wait to see what this is all about. Please tell me we get to see what this is all about.
Yes.
I don't like that you said
I'm not giving you a time frame.
That's fine, but do we get to find out about it?
Yes.
Because with all the yarn and the whole, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. The taste of sock drawer potpourri flooded my mouth. I'm still mad at you about that one. Just want to let you know that because
that IPA beer tastes like sock drawer potpourri.
Doesn't need a sock drawer.
It does. The flowery taste of IPAs is like sock drawer potpourri.
I get it. I get it. Hops can have a very, very loud, distinctive taste. But it's like we've talked about before. We developed a taste for IPAs out of necessity. It's like black tea.
I've evolved out of it. I don't have wisdom teeth. God. I don't like IPAs.
Okay.
Continue.
Moving on. Oh my God. Okay, chapter 20. Dark shapes swept around me, not attacking, flying, falling. I wrote, the fuck is this shit? The hell is that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to tell me anything?
Nope.
Oh, pain in my ass. This is what I deal with, y'all. Chapter 21. When Ella says, hold on, I'm actually going to click over to this because I want to read it correctly. So there's this whole thing about Ella trying to tell Caleb, you need to run the fuck as far away from this as you can. This is before they go to the cabin and she performs the blood ritual that gives her the visions about Clara. And she says, if all you're going to do is list why you have to stay, save it. It's your choice to make. Thank you. The hint of surprise in his voice wasn't comforting. And I went, oh, fuck. Like, legit, though. Right? Because he's like, wow, thank you for giving me that choice. It's like, no, you don't understand, you idiot. And then it just goes to show, like, how in the dark the people in Laureldale really are about all this.
Well, it's not even like, oh, wow, that was really nice of you. It was like, he's never even considered someone letting him do that before. Like, no one's ever trusted him that much. So he's like, well, okay, then. Yes, I am prepared for this thing.
Clara. So this is where we're already in the ritual. She is having the visions. Clara, face contoured, eyes darkened, different from her pictures, from how I'd seen her in the rooms, but familiar. Why so fucking familiar? Swung a punch at a man's chin. Why so familiar, Megan Elizabeth?
You'll find out.
Oh my God. Pain in my ass. All right. God. Okay, well, I wasn't ready for you to say it that quickly, so now I have to flip forward. I couldn't breathe, not past the blood in my throat. The monster touched my face. His fingers were cold, calloused, and wrong. Why wrong? And I went, I don't know, Megan. Why wrong? Why are they wrong? Stop asking us the questions and tell us. So why are they wrong?
I'm not telling you.
Oh my God. Okay. Chapter 22. See, I told you guys, this is fun. I couldn't let myself wonder what they'd seen while I'd been tumbling through visions, they being Caleb and Violet. Not when the shape of the DJ booth could lead to the club. So what is it about the shape of the DJ booth? Like, is there something that hold on, let's see, what did I say exactly? Oh, forgot about this. Is that something we're going to find out in the next book?
The DJ booth isn't super important. It's just another one of the visions of Clara's life, of her being out in this club, of her being in this scene of someone getting punched and her being at the center of another drama. Mm-hmm. The vision of the DJ booth, the reason she's focused on that aspect of it is that is the only clear shape she can find. And if she can draw the DJ booth, she can go through Google Images of local clubs and see if she can find a matching DJ booth.
Okay.
So it's not that there's anything important about the DJ. That's the one detail in that scene that she can form clearly enough to try and find a matching image.
That makes perfect sense. This is not a vision thing, anything that's necessarily important, but we get to this. The cozy colors of the bathroom cracked, splitting in thin white lines, the lights above the mirror twisted. Fuck. This is, she's recovering, not exactly recovering. She's suffering the after effects of doing this, the vision. Fuck. I turned on the tap and shoved my face beneath the freezing water, yelping at the instant stab of cold-made pain in my head. You're just tired. You can hold on. And I said, oh no, I am like immediately now hearing her parents' voices in her head. Is that one of those moments where it's her parents talking to her? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Moving. Oh, it's so sad. Now we get to I didn't write this down for some reason. I think this is really cool. Or did I read? Oh, yeah. This is going back to Paige. She held up a spool of string. This is a vision. The same kind she'd used for the web of pictures I'd seen on her wall. This won't be enough, you know. She unwound a foot of string, then grabbed my hand, stealing the comfort of the sketchbook's spiral spines, cutting into my fingers, tipping my palm up to the invisible sky. It's like, oh my God, wait, what? Like, what the hell is going on? And she just stares at me. And then there's also the Caleb in a cabin, the scene almost familiar as he slid his furious gaze from a lit lamp to me. But you already said that's not the cabin, though. Or that's not the shack at the end of this book. God.
That's not the storage shed.
Okay. I'm sorry. Like, I latched so much more onto things that are happening next book because I'm so curious about them. Okay, now we go into chapter... Wait, what is this? Oh, chapter 23. I couldn't rally the right kind of fear before the light around us being Ella and Caleb, flared, exploding, consuming Caleb, crackling, rising into a wall of skin-searing flames. I wrote, so, is this part dream, part vision? Or is this referencing the fire at the end? Can you talk about it?
It's part dream, part vision.
Is the vision part in this book?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, chapter 24. She just makes this small drop. And after going through Laurie's story, part 1, I know that it has another name, but it's called Laurie's story. Look, Alan and I agree. It's Laurie's story. That's 2 against 1. I don't care if you're the creative. She liked teaching, even went to college to be a teacher. And I was like, oh, yep. And I said, I'm going to say it. I said, yep. And then she met Dark Magic Dick.
Christopher! I think it's hilarious that in all of these, the one that I was like, yeah, this one I'm really proud of. You haven't mentioned it. It was so much earlier in the book.
Oh, what was it? Tell me.
Not Yet Dead Carver.
What are you talking about?
I said Not Yet Dead Carver about Corpse Carver chapters and chapters before Carver died.
Oh, you mean like actually died?
Yes.
Well, he technically died in chapter 2.
Yes, but I called him Not Yet Dead Corpse Carver.
Okay, you were asking a lot of my brain. Okay?
No, you pointed it out.
Oh, I'm smart sometimes.
No, you have to go find it. Can we pause while you find it?
Yes, I can pause while we find it. Hold on. Okay, so I found it. We took a brief break. Megan really wanted to talk about this, which I understand.
It was the one that started this whole thing. You brought it to me and you were like, wait a second, what? And I was like, yeah, I planted it.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then you were like, it was so cool. And I was like, there's a couple other ones.
I discovered this in Idaho, man. That feels like eons ago. It wasn't, though. It was just a couple of weeks. Time has no meaning. Let's see. I kept clinging to the Rams. If you don't know who the Ram is, you go reread the book because the Ram is adorable. I kept clinging to the Ram's squishy little body as the entire school filed into the bleachers, all of them ready to listen to Harrison's praise of Laureldale's heroes, none of them knowing how quickly a new disaster would knock all thoughts of Not Yet Dead Carver aside. So yes, the reason I remember now that I had highlighted this, the reason that I did was because she is referencing the fire as the disaster, not yet dead Carver. So that's why I didn't cling on to it, because my brain is not smart enough to think about the fact that that was not yet dead Carver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Not Yet Dead Carver.
I didn't think about it.
She knows he's dead because she's talking from after he died. So she's calling him Not Yet Dead Carver.
From how far in the future does this happen?
She is speaking from after book 1.
But before book 2?
Yes.
Okay. Who's she writing the emails to, Megan? I'm kidding. This is not told in emails.
It's not told in emails.
Okay.
Sorry, but that was the one that I was like, wait a second, we talked about this moment that I was so proud of.
That's not the moment I was talking about.
He was called Not Yet Dead Carver so long before he died.
I think it's hilarious that I pointed that out to you and you thought
got the wrong thing out of it.
You thought that I was smarter than I was. I love you so much that 21 years later, you still think I'm intelligent.
I have so much confidence in you.
Oh, God, you need to stop that right now. Okay, going back to chapter 24, if I may. I woke up on the library floor, choking for air, frozen with cold that didn't exist. Oh, shit. Is this a vision we'll learn about later?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Violet wrapped her... Wait, hold on. What chapter are we in? We are still in the same chapter. Yes, we're still in the same chapter. Violet wrapped her... Oh, my God, I know why I wrote this. Violet wrapped her arms around me, bearing my weight when my knees couldn't, but not the same way Caleb had. Her hitched breaths matched mine as she let tears take over. I hugged her back, holding on as tight as I could as we allowed ourselves 2 minutes to mourn the girl Laureldale wanted to forget. I was literally reading this backstage at Universal, and I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, it's so sad. It's so sad. Anyway, sorry, that's all. Chapter 25. Ella, page furrowed her brow. Most of it was anger at Violet, but there was this tiny look of worried doubt in her eyes, like she thought I might ditch her and Jason for Violet, and if I did, she'd actually be hurt. I wrote, I love the way you combine the supernatural elements and the teen angst, like Ella Visions meets group plans.
It's true.
I know, but it's such a great... I remember talking to Justin when we were up in Pennsylvania, and he was like, it's so funny because like so much of the book is like this kind of high school teen angst novel, and then it gets real dark. And I was like, yeah, yeah, it does. And it fits, right?
She's trying to live a normal life.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't
it's not
really
going
go
so well.
very well for her.
No, it fucking doesn't. She has this vision happen to her just briefly in I think it's in Algebra 2, forming a corpse. This is like smoke that's rising up, forming a corpse, a non-Carver corpse lying where Jason's desk should have been. What the fuck is that about? I said, is this going to happen the same night as Noah's death? Because this is stuff happening in the high school, and Noah is seen with the hammer and knife in the parking lot in the high school. So is this that same night?
Anything where you refer to Noah dying is too messy.
Oh, because it's
just
too many times?
Leave it out.
She's seen Noah die in many different ways. So
yes.
Noah's definitely dying. Like, there's no way she can stop it. She's like, nope, he dies. He is meant to die. So this is something
there is
like,
something happening that she has not figured out that means Noah dies.
But she's accepted that Noah dies.
Not fully.
But she kind of gets
yeah,
it.
like Noah, this is not a kid kicks a ball into traffic and gets hit by a car, so just stop the ball. There is something a lot bigger than a ball rolling into traffic that is getting Noah killed again and again.
There's a moment in chapter 26, which is the crossing. The man screaming behind me would not survive this trauma. So there's like, this is again another teen angst moment where she's being forced to sit next to Evan. There's shit going on. And she catches a glimpse of something. She's hearing stuff that's not actually there. Mm-hmm. The man screaming behind me would not survive this trauma. And I went, ooh, so do we get to see a battle at the crossing? Or is this something that maybe happened in the past?
That's past.
That is past. Okay. Oh God, another cry moment. Like I wanted to go into, oh wait, hold on, let me actually get the full quote up. I would have thrown myself into Mrs. Nikolich's arms just to see if a hug from another werewolf mom could be anything like my mom's. It's like, oh my God. I said, no, wait, no, I don't know where that scrolled back up, but that made me, I was sobbing a little bit. It's fine. Okay, I just have a couple left in this, and then we can get to what you consider the main event. Which I'm excited about, but I was happy to do this. Thank you. I wrote literally a face with tears streaming down.
Oh, that's a cute picture, baby.
Thank you so much. I think we should frame it. I think I might have won the finger painting contest. I
love that you believe in yourself so much. I
do. Violet saying, if it turns out something really horrible happened to Clara, you'd spend the rest of your life hating your father. And I wrote, fuck. I was like, oh shit, this is coming, isn't it? This moment when she's going to reveal it to him, I'm assuming.
Why would she reveal it to him?
Or his dad will.
I mean, everybody's gonna know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I have two things left. This one is chapter 27.
Okay.
Relinquishing my hold on his hair. This is when they're making out for the first time in her room. Her and Caleb. I ran my hands down his arms, exploring the ridges of his biceps as I reached for the sweater's hem. I leaned away from him, just enough to pull off the fucking sweater, and opened my eyes. My room at Kate's was gone. The wide windows and carved desk had been replaced by corrugated metal walls and a shelf of rust-spotted propane tanks. The stench of rotting lumber and bleach had stolen the scent of expensive floral cleaner in old house. And I wrote, this fucking moment! That moment. Right there, where she sees where she's going to be at the end of the book.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God.
Okay, but here's the thing. And you can cut this if you want.
Okay.
But something that I want you to think about is when Ella can feel people / things / when there are... This is going to be a weird theater thing of me, but when she has a prop in her hand in a vision, like when is she touching something? When can she feel something in the real world? Okay. Like those things, I didn't, at least I don't think I ever did that by accident.
Okay.
I assume I didn't. I'm really hoping not. But Ella can, when she's having the vision of the room with the corrugated metal, she can feel Caleb with her.
Right.
Because Caleb is with her. That's true.
Yes.
So when she's in the room with the corrugated metal, he's there.
Right. Literally.
So when she's in the vision in her room, she can still feel him with her. Yes. Because that doesn't change.
No, it doesn't. I don't think that she has this kind of power, but that's not what ends up drawing him into that moment, is it? No, okay.
But that's why it's like this weird thing of like, why can I feel you here?
Yeah.
Because he is there.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I actually let go of the other things that I had because I think that that's probably the most powerful moment to end on for right now. And yes, there are, 10 more chapters technically in the book. But as we start nearing the end, those visions become less about this book. And since Megan has already proved that she won't answer my fucking questions about the other books, we're going to leave it alone. Okay, do you want to talk about what we're about to do next? I just gave
you a huge thing.
What about her being able to feel him?
Yes. I just handed you a huge gift.
Well, I'm very excited to listen to it again when I edit this.
Okay, that's great. All right, continue.
Wait, did you want to talk about it more?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you positive?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so why don't you explain what we're doing next?
Okay, so because it's always hard for me to choose exactly what moment I want to start a book with. Because it's a really big decision, where exactly do you want to drop your readers on the map?
I'm going to pause you for just 1 second. Forgive me. Okay, remember, drop your readers on the map where you want to do that. In the tethering, do you remember how the actual events of that book started? Not the prologue.
The actual events start with Jacob waking up, which
and
is
then looking in the mirror,
totally cliche.
Which is very cliche, but it was your first novel.
And people still like
it. It's a great story. It's not what I steer people to because it's not your best writing, but it's still a great story.
And I'm really proud of it, but I look at it sometimes and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a great story. It has, this is something.
I think what I like about it is that it is very raw and untrained.
It is.
So I make some.
You also had an excellent editor when you were in house.
Did.
She was fantastic.
Where were we going with this? Right. Yeah. So I usually spend a lot of time tweaking that first moment because of the way that we're doing the podcast, where once something goes out in the podcast, it is canon. I don't get to do huge rewrites. I can do line edits and shit, but that's about it. So I normally write a couple different versions of the beginning of a novel kind of throughout the writing process. I'll tweak it as I find new things that I like. Mm-hmm. But I don't have that option with the way we're doing this. So what we decided is that I would write 3 versions of the beginning.
Yes.
And we will share the 2 non-winners tonight. And then the beginning that I decided to go with for the book will be shared next week.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna do some real brutal honesty with y'all. I decided before I got to writing the 3rd one that I really liked the 2nd one. And so the 3rd one's a little shitty because I couldn't convince myself to put my heart into it. Because I was like, I'm not going to manage anything as good. So to make sure that, we end on an upswing, first here is the brief phoned in version 3 of the opening that I tried so hard to convince myself to work really hard on, but I liked option 2 so much. I just tried. Okay, Chris, you read.
It was actually option 1 that you went with finally. Option 2.
I emailed them to you out of order so that you wouldn't, because I had mentioned that option 2 was the one that I liked best.
I I didn't remember that.
So I flipped the two in order so that you wouldn't
I see.
Because he's read all three because I wanted to make sure.
Option 2, I read it first, and at work today, I was on my lunch break. I went, oh my God, there was something that was said in it that made me clutch my pearls. So be excited for that for next week, because I was like, oh my God.
Okay, well, that's okay. Let's not build things up too much.
Sorry.
Now, first of all, I think that this is an adequate opening.
So, okay, what I said to you was that I said, honey, the thing is, this is still a solid opening. This is an opening that could be in a book on a Barnes & Noble shelf, just not on our shelves. That's not allowed. And she looked at me like, oh, how dare you?
I didn't think you were going to say that again. Okay, just read.
Of course I am.
Squeaky.
Look, the thing is you also said that we were going to say that you didn't fucking try with this one at the end of this one. So I was like, well, we're going for it.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. So here's the one that Megan didn't try with. Again, perfectly adequate, but you're a better writer than this. Okay. Never let humans outnumber you. That had always been...
Never let the humans.
Whatever. Never let the humans outnumber you. That had always been the rule in my parents' home. Wanted to bring friends for dinner? I could bring 3. 1 for each member of our little family. Home alone? 1 friend only. With 2 friends, one might slip off and find some hint of the supernatural lurking under the kitchen sink. You've made it a thing now. I love you.
No, don't stop.
Okay. Ella, you okay? Paige called through my bathroom door. Yep, out in a minute. I let out a breath, remembering to keep my voice low as I dragged my bloody finger down my collarbone, and to stay present bound. You don't need anything? Sydney asked. Nope. I wrapped a tissue around my nicked finger and fanned the blood on my chest with my hand, giving the ritual a moment to set, which no one had ever implied might help, but it made sense to me. Like my parents' rules made sense. 1 set of eyes to watch every human. But Kate Blackwood didn't seem to give a shit. Kate opened her home to my human friends, inviting them for meals and to sleep on the extra bed she'd crammed into my room, surrounding me with humans for the past 6 days, using my friends like a playpen, keeping everything Etherean just out of reach. She'd even agreed to Paige convincing Principal Harrison to let my friends take turns skipping school to hunt. She even agreed to Paige convincing Principal Harrison to let my friends take turns skipping school to come hang out with poor, traumatized Ella, since I only have found family in town. Gotta keep a constant eye on the fucked up orphan. Can't give her a moment to process on her own. Do you want a snack before we go? Paige asked. To a food truck fest? Sydney's whisper carried through the bathroom door. They nag because they love. 3 weeks ago, you had no one here, Ella. Should we have coffee? I said. I'll get it started, Sydney said. Don't lie to yourself, Ella. You've always had Kate. I ran the corner of a towel under the tap, wiped the blood from my chest, wrapped up the red stain, and hid the bundle at the bottom of my hamper. And that is option 3. So again, like honestly, reading it through again, I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a great opening, but it's fine.
It's adequate, but it doesn't have any pep. So
a couple of notes. Megan goes, this ritual, giving the ritual a moment to set, which no one had ever implied might help, like the whole, like putting the...
Well, and to stay present bound, and the drawing the blood down her collarbone, and then giving the ritual a moment to set.
So give it a second. Okay.
But we've never actually seen any part of the ritual because it's never been necessary. Yeah. It's never been needed for the moment. And wouldn't it be hilarious if this is the only moment where it's ever actually shown?
So it's just you listening to the podcast
so it's
that even know.
Only ever the podcast listeners for Laureldale that ever know that part of the blood ritual because it just never shows up anywhere else. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. No. But wouldn't it be hilarious?
It would be hilarious. So the other note that we had in here was Megan and I were talking. It's like, oh, should we fix this? Is it confusing? Because it's I ran the corner of a towel under the tap, wiped the blood from my chest, wrapped up the red stain, and hid the bundle at the bottom of my hamper. Which Megan was like, does that make sense? And I was like, sure, I get it. She's like wiping it with a corner, and then it's kind of like folding that corner into the exact middle of the bundle and then tossing it. And she's like, but should I clarify it? And so I said, yeah, we should. Wait, why would we? We're not fucking using this. Why the hell would we care? So it was just a funny moment.
To make sure we're presenting a good product.
It's still it's solid. It's fine. But it was just very funny.
It doesn't win.
Oh, it absolutely doesn't win. Okay. Megan is very proud of this opening line. This is technically option 1, I guess, right?
Yes, but this is the second of the 2 options we are presenting tonight.
The other one you will hear next week.
Option 3 you will hear next week as we begin season 2.
I can't believe we're beginning season 2.
Yeah, I can't tell if I'm numb because we're beginning season 2 and this is like our last quasi season 1 podcast moment, or if it's from the migraine medicine.
Could be from the migraine medicine. So this weekend, while incredibly fun, was very taxing on your brain. And with the TBI, sometimes we have to be really careful. So you're still recovering. Yeah, I love you so much. Okay, so here we go. Option 2 of the 2 that we're reading tonight. Never trust a werewolf's taste in food trucks.
I think it's a good opening line.
It's fine. It's a fine opening line. It does not in any way compare to the other one.
Okay, but I'm still pretty proud of it.
It is good. It's just I read the one that she chose first and I died. I was like, what is happening? It's so delicious. It's so much teen angst. It's beautiful. All right. Never trust a werewolf's taste in food trucks. Basic, I know, but I was so fucking happy to be away from Kate's for the first time in 6 days. I didn't think about it until after Luca handed me my meat-wrapped bundle of meat. My fault for asking him to just grab me whatever he's getting. A dumbass move since I wasn't really doing well with eating. Yet, breathing I'd remastered. Breathe in, yay, another fucking trauma. Breathe out. One moment at a time. Breathe in. Fuck healing. I just want to reach whatever the fuck this new normal is supposed to be. Patience, Ella. Today's stretch for normality. Kate allowing me to attend the Laureldale Food Truck Fest. With a flock of mostly useless guards surrounding me, of course, including Evan, my date. Uh-oh. Her date? So explain that real quick for those who don't remember, because this is actually a good point going into the next book.
Evan
had said that he was going to take her to the food truck fest.
Yes,
right?
He said that he could get an extra ticket and he invited her to be his date to the food truck fest.
And that was before she passes him and Haley in the cursed coitus curtain in the church.
Behind the cursed coitus curtain.
Yes.
So this is before his shenanigans with Haley. He invited Ella to go to the food truck fest with him.
Because he said, tickets are already sold out, but if you want to go, I have a connection. Just let me know.
Yeah.
So sly. My God. All right. Evan, my date, the instigator of this awkward fucked upness. Luca, Violet's brother, and stand-in on the Ella protective detail. Super grateful to have a werewolf beside me. Less than ideal for that werewolf to be at the center of Laureldale's darkest rumors. Jason, the sheriff's son, who I'm pretty sure asked his dad for bodyguard advice based on his determination to stay slightly behind my right shoulder. Paige, who'd become Groot director. Groot? I am Groot. Paige, who'd become group director for the evening while keeping a bruising grip on my arm anytime our blob was in motion. Sydney and Andre, the calmest of the bunch, who still stayed too close to be normal and condemned themselves to morning neck pain by swiveling their heads as they constantly searched for danger, but they, unlike Evan, Jason, and Paige, hadn't tried to snatch me out of any stranger's reach, so they won. And Noah, who'd joined the guard blob inside the festival and stayed with the group even though everyone's hyper-awareness had anxiety sweat beating on his brow and he froze in panic every time someone approached our tables too quickly. Fitting, I guess, since he's going to die. I hadn't considered his doom as Paige sat me across from him at our 2 shoved-together picnic tables. Watching a dead man walking eat a low-calorie salad with no dressing tested my compartmentalization skills, slamming the good ol' "it's not fair" mallet at my mental walls with each rabbity bite. "You okay?" Jason said. Fuck that refrain. He frowned from his spot catty-corner from me. "Do you need something else to eat?" Shit. "Nope, I'm good." My answer came out too cheery. Jason's frown deepened. I glanced down at the 2 bites I'd taken from my meat-wrapped meat. Shit. You're not going to eat that? Luca asked, snatching the food for himself before I'd finished saying,
okay, that's not going to be Luca's voice.
You're not going to eat that?
That's not Luca's voice either.
You're not going to eat that?
No!
You're not going to eat that? I don't know. What the hell do you want from me? You're not going to eat that?
No, he's a 19-year-old who's been traumatized by the loss of his girlfriend and has learned to be an introvert out of self-preservation necessity.
All right, hold on. Let me try this again. You're not going to eat that?
Much better.
Luca asked, snatching the food for himself before I'd finished saying, all yours. You need to eat something else, Paige said. To keep up my strength so I can run from more kidnappers? Don't say it, Ella. It's too soon, Ella. I'll get some dessert with you guys, I said. Do you want something now? Evan laid his hand on my shoulder, twisting in his seat to face me. I tensed, waiting for the walls to break, but my mind stayed in the now with Evan's deep brown eyes staring into mine with the perfect amount of concern. I can go grab it for you. Evan's tiny brow furrows deepened. Okay, we're at the end of this now.
Thus ends Megan, option 2.
Megan explained this to me, and I was on the floor. Explain why Evan is the reason Ella got kidnapped.
Well, because in Evan's mind...
he apparently has main character syndrome.
Oh, very badly.
Which fits.
Well, because, he is that music theater boy who always gets the lead and assumes that everyone's going to...
He's a music theater boy? Of course he is.
Why do you think he went to music theater camp and came back charming? He learned how to play the part.
Oh my God.
But he's used to being the lead in everything. He's used to everyone spooning, so that's become his part in life. He has main character syndrome. And so in his head, if he hadn't fucked around with Haley, Ella wouldn't have been on a date with Jason. Ella wouldn't have been kidnapped. Ella wouldn't have been traumatized.
That is so fucked.
So it is his fault that Ella went through all this, so he needs to help her heal.
It is just so remarkably fucked up.
But the thing is, so many people who think like that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Who it all, every ounce of drama has to relate back to them.
My God. Yeah, it's true. Oh man, and thus ends a that was a packed episode.
And there was no music.
Oh my God, there was no music. Well, there was the okay. No, there was music at the beginning and at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and then next week, we are starting season 2.
I can't believe it. And y'all, I know it's just we're starting season 2 without having gotten the first book out to everybody. Well, we're moving fast. A. B. We want this product to go out perfect. So we're waiting.
Well, I have some ideas about that. And I think the most important thing to know for our very patient Kickstarter backer is that things are going very well. I'm just not great with time estimates. But plus side, nothing is going wrong.
No, it's not at all.
Except my lack of concept of time, which is, pretty expected and cheerful. So what lovely news. Everything is going as the universe says it ought.
Everything's going so well.
Is there anything else you have to add for this episode?
No, but there's something you have to add. Yes, the exciting news.
Drum roll, please. I have officially been accepted to the Miami Book Fair. Yay! Not gonna lie, I've been stressing about this one. It's one of my biggest events for the year.
It's a huge event. There's something like 200,000 people over 3 days.
So I was kind of panicking that I might not get in this year because it's not a lot of Comic-Cons, when the Comic-Con ends, you can re-up for the next year, basically. So you get an auto spot as long as you sign on right away. But Miami Book Fair doesn't have that.
No.
So it's this constant
am I going to get in? Am I going to get in? Yeah. But
I did. Awesome. I got in. So that will be being added to the
events page.
Yes. And for my Substack people, because I am going through the process of moving my Megan O'Russell newsletter over to Substack.
Yes.
To create a more interactive experience and to make things better for getting to know my readers and having it not just be this, I shoot off into the universe and have it be gone every time I send out a newsletter. I am in the process of moving that over. So I am going to be creating a post on Substack that has an updated listing of all my upcoming events. So if you are a podcast listener on Substack, keep an eye out because that will be up there. Also, the events listing on my website and on social media and everything will be updated as well. So you'll still be able to find it there.
Yeah. Well, I think that is it for us. So do you want to remind people where they can find us?
Yes, please subscribe to the Page by Page podcast on any platform where you like to listen to podcasts. Please follow, comment, whatever your preferred platform lets you do to tell the algorithm that you want to see more of us and that you think other people would enjoy Page by Page. And don't forget to check us out on social media and give us comments if there are some events in your area that you think might be good for us so that we can check them out and see if we can add them to our schedule for 2026.
Yes, please do. And if for some reason you were just now joining us this week, well, sorry for all the spoilers, but not spoilers. For the spoilers, but not really because we told you so. But make sure that you catch up because next week we start book 2.
Which means I have to officially decide on a title by then.
Oh, shit. Well, all right. So we're going to go now so that Megan can start working on that. But as always,
the rash is back.
Thank you for reading.